Hey everybody. Sorry I look a little bit like a disheveled mess. I actually had a bout with food poisoning today, so I'm currently trying to get through that. So this week we talked about the different student policies that are in place, and we always sometimes we have to skirt the line when it comes to, like, yes, student affairs, but also what falls onto the academic side of things, where there are policies and procedures that need to be followed. And it's not just academic sides, it's also the legalese that we deal with all the time. And one of the things that I really wanted to talk about was the Title IX policies and procedures that were in place during my time at Angelina College. I picked that one to talk about because A, incredibly relevant, but B, I was a firm advocate for advising these particular policies and procedures as they were incredibly difficult for students to understand. So, what parts of the policy are confusing and why? Well, any and all of us know that Title IX encompasses so many things, and it's very easy for students to not realize what is and isn't covered under Title IX. There's a lot more that falls underneath Title IX than even employees, staff, faculty, anybody knows about. And that would, require us to educate ourselves a little bit better to understand. But also, Title IX policies and procedures have changed significantly over the past, couple of years. Every year, I feel like we all learn something new. And in Angelina College's Title IX policy statement, it's not easy for you to follow in order to figure out how to file a complaint. Also, very strange that there's crazy deadlines, like, 5 to 10 business days. We have to have a formal complaint turned in. We have to have this. And then, it's just bullet point after bullet point after bullet point. And then it goes into how to file a report or a claim. And again, using very lovely legal jargon that students nowadays may not even understand. One of the things says, after the written notice of a formal complaint has been given to the college, both the complainant and the respondent will receive written notice. So we know what that means, but students are like, what? It's very confusing. We need to write things in terms and terminology that students understand. And then from there, we learn about all the different ways that the complaints can be filed: hard copy, electronically. How is an investigation gonna go? And these are all just barriers for students to try to it keeps, it artificially pads the numbers. It keeps numbers down because the students already going through something as traumatic as having to file a Title IX report. It's frustrating because it's just a barrier. All it does is it makes it so students don't even want to complain, and they don't want to do it, and they just don't want to deal with the whole process. And then you have to try to, talk about the different supportive measures that are on campus, who's a confidential employee, who's not a confidential employee, which, again, definitely something students don't understand the meaning of. And then when you go in, the next question was, what questions would those affected by the policy have about the policy? If I were a student, I'd be like, why is this so complicated to understand? Because it shouldn't be as difficult as it is to try to report when something as severe as a Title IX issue comes to pass. It really shouldn't be. It should be made very clear how one goes to report. And another thing is, we talk about, the next question is, how would you make it more concise? Part of the issue with Angelina Colleges, if you go take a look, is a lot of the faculty and staff stuff is woven into the students. So there's not really necessarily students don't know, like, what they are versus aren't supposed to look at, what they are or aren't supposed to do, because everything is all kind of submerged in together, even if they don't mean for that to happen. And now I know, federally there were Title IX policies put into place by the former administration, and That includes basically the school has to be judge and jury and have a hearing, and it's very tedious, very time consuming, and this entire policy, let me see, I'm pretty sure this policy is, yes, it is like 25 pages long. That is so difficult to ask a student to try to understand, and there's only so much that we can do to help. Obviously, the student has to file the paperwork on their own, reach out to us, all of those things. So it's like they are gonna feel defeated before they even begin to file it. And so we just need to start using language that is more transparent so that students truly understand what it is that we're asking for. Also, obviously, working with Title IX, it crosses in the academics a lot because obviously you think Title IX, most people just off the cuff associate that with athletics, which that's where it's gained a lot of traction over the years, obviously, is within athletics, which often falls within student affairs or student services or however the school has it structured. But Title IX in the classroom is a big thing too, and something I learned while I was trying to revamp our Title IX training before I left was that students did not understand that Title IX wasn't just men's, women's. It was more of, if, say you're pregnant and you have a doctor's appointment and you have a note and everything, and your professor refuses to count you as excused, that's a Title IX violation. If your professor starts to make inappropriate comments towards, any other student or anything like that, is Title IX. And is anything that's infringing upon your ability to actively be a part of that class, or actively be a part of whatever organization, whatever club, whatever event, anything that is impeding upon your ability to do well. So, I think many campuses I'm sure that if I go through, there are other campuses that just have the same very long, lengthy Title IX policies and procedures, but I feel in my heart of hearts that there's got to be a way to write it in a way that is understandable to your normal, average, everyday Joe who doesn't have a law degree, to where it is attainable to actually go forth and finish a Title IX complaint and see it through. Because what you see is students start to begin the process, but then it's a swift and quick stop because following through is so overwhelming and so confusing. So that's just what I wanted to talk about this week. So I look forward to seeing what everybody else chose.